Hello, this is Scrambled Vagabond here. Just wanted to give you a little heads up on the progress I've been making on my new engine that I'll be using, the Godot engine or Godot engine. I had previously been using the OHRRPG engine to create the two games that I currently have published to itch, Admin's Hyperspace Chronicle and Come Oddity. And it's also what I'm using on my demo of Gay Savage and the Enigma Rip, which you probably haven't seen any of yet, but you will soon. But I, wanted to move into 3D, wanted to move into something less restrictive, so I wanted to kind of show you where I started out on, okay, that one's not, I'll open that one from the, I hastily exported that right before I started this video, so I'll just run it from in here. But this was, this just went off of a tutorial video that I basically just watched and followed. That's how several of these are. I kind of just watch a tutorial and do what it says and still somehow manage to come into all kinds of problems. But I change it up a little bit. This one, the tutorial, which I will link in the description. It's a very nice tutorial. But it was a tutorial about having finite number of enemies, and you would just put however many enemies in the level. I said, I don't want to do that. I want to have them infinitely spawn like this. And so I banged my head against the wall for a couple hours figuring out how to get them to spawn using paths and whatnot, And I just kind of threw in placeholder graphics. The tutorial just uses squares, but I threw in something that, zombie chicks, and just to sort of get in the habit of doing that, just to put in a little bit of extra work, So that's that one. The next one I worked on, I went into actual 3D, and this was based off another tutorial that I'll link, where you essentially, it's called Make Your First 3D Game. And I really wanted to...
Oh, you were finished!
Oh.
Oh,
and I really wanted to... oh, come on, you motherfucker. Sorry. Well, you get the gist.
Oh, you were finished! Oh, allow me to retort.
Yeah, I put Samuel L. Jackson in there whenever you die. But, I just figured, how can I make this my own? And I said, well, I've been seeing an awful lot of fucking cockroaches around here, so, have a wizard smashing giant cockroaches. There you go. So the next day, I've only been doing this for, I think this has been like 4 or 5 days now. I did this one here. This one I didn't add anything. The tutorial provided the assets, which, I guess all the other ones did too, but I figured this one was cool enough to just kind of have. Something I did add to this to make it a little bit extra than where the tutorial actually went was I added the kill score and the health, which goes down whenever one of them goes behind you. And this is when I was like, man, this shit looks badass, dude. Like, this is a 3D game, and there's projectile, particle effects, explosions, and this is cool. Like, I started to get kind of excited, you know. And the sector is overrun. I failed my federation. The next day, I said, fuck the tutorials. I've been doing the tutorials, been copying the tutorials bit by bit, been learning about shit, adding new shit on there. And I said, hey, I'm going to make my own thing. So I went to a random game idea generator. And I think it might have been this one. That one's purple. It might have been this one. I think it was another one though. But anywho, I went and it said, oh, I just clicked generate and I picked the first thing. And it said, oh, you need to make a virtual pet game with a dark fantasy theme, a twist of you being your own enemy, and some extra theme of like a serial killer or something. So I was like, I was looking around at the free assets on itch and saw a goblin. And I was like, what more perfect dark fantasy serial killer fucking pet than a goblin? Now this is a huge step back from oh shit, I better feed his ass. Because this wasn't following any tutorial. I don't even know if there is a tutorial on virtual pet games. So I was like, well, what the fuck am I going to do? The only virtual pet I've ever had is Tamagotchi. Pretty much when he says, I'm going to kill you, that's you've lost. And I never got around to trying to get this damn goblin to walk around without following, some predetermined path gave me so much trouble. And he's not rigged. There's no armature, so I just animated him, moving slightly to have some kind of... but I had other animations for him, and I don't know... The scale on everything got messed up, and the scale of all the assets was different by the time I animated it, and I put it into the world scene, he got all big, different sized, and I really screwed it up, And this is all I got. I got a bunch of blood sausages here that you can feed him, and got this little area here. This is his little dungeon area. I told myself, just do as much as you can in a day, which for me is like, by the time I drink coffee and listen to a couple tunes and see how my page is doing and everything, my day is like about 6 hours. So I did this in about 6 hours, which really isn't that. It's not very great. But the next day, I said, my brother-in-law, who I'm staying with right now, I said, dude, tell me what to make the next day. I wanted him to get involved in it, and I wanted to not use the random game idea generator because they make games that are fucking hard for me to make. I click on it and it's like, make a real-time strategy game set in outer space, and and he was like, I don't know, man, make it something to do with the snowman. I was like, oh, okay, a snowman, great. I'm really gonna take that and run with it. And I kind of did. I got a little inspired, because Colton, maybe I shouldn't say his name, but he used to snowboard, and he smokes hella weed. So I mixed those two together and come up with this, where you're a snowboarding snowman who collects tokens that look like weed leaves. And I spent all day, I think probably 10 hours working on this right here. And this was a blast to work on. I really, really loved it. And, I have, I want to turn the volume down, but I don't want to. Didn't want to take my hand off the keyboard. I'm probably going to die. But, yeah, I used a rigid body instead of a kinematic. Oh, shit. Which is what I have been using as a kinematic body. And playing with the rigid body is super fun because, you just make some slopes and all of a sudden it's like rolling down it, okay? So, and this was the first time that I had the had the camera following the snowman with code, with like a code where you get the a code where you get the translation of the rigid body and the camera, and then every like delta frame or whatever in the process function you have the camera's translation be its translation minus the offset or plus the offset, but the offset is a variable that I identified as being translation of the camera minus the translation of the snowman. It's actually a piece of code that I could get, without. It's hard for me to wrap my head around the coding stuff. A lot of times, like I'm really trying to get hold of it so that I can create my own character controllers. Not, obviously I can just download a character controller for whatever I want, third-person platform, 2D platform, FPS, whatever you want. But I want to be able to make one and know everything about making one before I get into doing that, or else it just feels like it's not mine. But this is simply a rigid body rolling down a hill, and when I use the camera technique for following, I say, because if you just child this mesh, the snowman mesh, which also has a capsule mesh childed to it, which I flattened into the shape of a snowboard. If you just child that directly to a rigid body, that rigid body is going to roll, and that mesh is going to roll with it. I was like, oh snap, how about I do with the camera, not make the mesh a child, and just you put a script on the mesh that makes its offset equal to the, or makes its translation equal to the translation of the rigid body at all times. Awesome. Okay, well now it was completely static, and it wasn't rotating with the ground like how it is now. Like it looks like it's on the ground, and when the ground changes, he changes orientation with it. And, you know, I'm proud of myself and my idiocy because I was able to, I can put the ground pieces, which are just, you know, blocks, I can put them all in a group called ground. Oof. Have a signal go out. Oh, I almost made that. You'll put an area on the mesh with a sphere collider. Have it emit a when body entered signal to the mesh and say, you know, if the group that the body is in is the ground, then the rotation rotation underscore degrees of the mesh becomes equal to the rotation degrees of that body, which is the ground. And it worked perfectly. I was like, oh my god, you can see that. And with that came everything else. I added to that same signal, I added, you know, these two particle emitters on either side of the board, and the sound effect of the thing going, and you know, I think it all just comes together real clean. Like, you saw how it blows up into snowballs whenever you hit a tree. Like, I love that. And it's the first time that I've made a game, even, you know, with my 2D games, because, I mean, no one I know in real life gives a fuck about a 2D game that, you know, is pixel art or whatever. And, oh, sweet victory. This is the first time that they actually looked and was like, wow, that's like a legit game. Yeah. And having that is useful, you know, for motivation and stuff. But I mean, look at that skybox, right? I mean, look at that fucking skybox. Without the skybox, this game would be crap. Yeah, and the game is kind of crap. It's fun, but you know, and obviously the game doesn't stop playing after you win. It just kind of. Well, now I'm going again. I wonder what happens if I hit it again. I've never played this far in. I think it's just gonna. I don't even think he's gonna make it. Oh, yeah, because I put a Y. Originally I wanted to have a jump. So like rigid bodies, you apply impulses. You can apply like a torque impulse for rotational, or a central impulse that's not rotational. It's just, you know, or just like a regular impulse. I just wanted to apply impulse on the Y axis to make him jump like that. Give him a sweet jump. But what would happen is he would start flying up the ramp. You know, because the ramp goes up the y-axis. So start sliding up the ramp instead of down the ramp, because the force of the impulse is greater than gravity, and there's no built-in functions for the rigid body like there is for the kinematic body for are you on the ground. You know, on the kinematic body you can just call the move and slide, tell it the direction of up, and then you can, you know, tell it when you're on the floor, do this or that. Anywho, so that's that game. I actually do have like literal fun playing that game. And that is where I stand on that. Today I took a little bit of a break. I'm writing a script for a new video because tomorrow is the beginning of the game jam that I'm in, which is the Godot Wild Jam. That's going to start tomorrow, April 8th. And 190 people are in it. You know, I feel like this is a huge jam. I haven't even looked at who the host of it is yet. Look at this guy. Look at this dude. Look at these games that this guy put out. Have I heard of any of these? Founder of Indie Hive. Are these all his games? You're a political candidate in the fantasy land. I think I have heard of this one. Moth Boy. Godot Wildlings. All the winners from the Godot Wild Jam. See that? And it's not that long a list. You know, and it's a 9-day jam. And I'm super excited for it. I feel like with all the people that are hosts that are joining it, and at the very least they're going to be playing it, and whoever's watching might go and play some of them, and the judges are going to play, they're going to critique, they're going to give constructive criticism. It's going to be such an excellent learning experience. And I mean, I can't wait. Like, I feel like after this, like, the progress that I've just shown you has been over like 4 days. Okay? And I feel like I'm really starting to get this engine. And, you know, once I can work around in it without just fumbling about, you know, I'll be able to start telling the kinds of stories that I want to tell in 3D, putting that out into the world, and, you know, and fulfilling my dream, or getting, you know, one step closer to doing so. So, you know, send me prayers for, or, you know, whatever sort of vile sorceries that you can conjure up for the jam. And thank you for taking this little journey with me through my few days of progress. And I just wanted to get a video to y'all and have a nice word. So I'm going to click that real quick. Only allow. What's this one say? Oh, it's on Twitter. Oh my god, 7 likes, dude. 9 likes. 9 retweets. Oh my god. You know, so what I really should be learning is Blender now. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do until... Oh shit. That shouldn't be there. Alright, well, I'm going to exit it out here. You have a wonderful day, and I will see you very soon.